BagFuel, baby.
Singing down by the
Before I got signed. Before I got signed.
I never knew that. Nobody
Yeah.
never said that before.
I bought a speaker. I had the
It was
speaker.
just Dolo?
Yeah, I had the speaker with my microphone, and then I was selling CDs because that's where
That
we're
was the
at now.
thing. Yeah.
It wasn't even that long ago, but I was selling CDs, and then I had I Heart BK shirts because the L Train was going to Brooklyn. I was like, this is actually perfect, and they were my initials, so I was like, okay, I'm selling T-shirts and CDs. I was making bread, and the cops and truancy, nobody came down to the L platform. They were always on like the 6 and the 4 and the 5 because that was a much rowdier line than the L Train. So yeah. Good times.
Yeah, I never knew that shit.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, you know, you got it hooked by crook, you know, trying to make it into this game.
Yeah.
And
Those are the best times, though, before we officially started. I know he got that.
No, we been started.
But those are the best times because I just was talking to Ghost about this, and I said, when we get our deals and whatever, I said, Heineken better enjoy this time because he can go do whatever the fuck he wants.
I go to ignorant strip clubs.
He can go. Heineken can leave
swingers clubs
on camera, go crazy, come back. I said, but when they come and give you that bag, I just said this to Ghost. They gonna be like, no.
It's over for you.
Yo,
you can't do that no more.
We only talking about business.
Can I talk about a crazy moment?
Yeah.
It involves you.
Okay. Shit.
Jay-Z.
All right.
And an elevator.
What?
Yes. Not like Solange.
I was like, wait, do I have any moments in an elevator? No.
Yeah. We had shot a video.
Where were we?
Def Jam building.
Okay.
It's probably 12 years ago.
Good building.
Yep. It's a good time. 12 years ago was a good time at the Def Jam building.
It's a good building. It's a good building.
Yeah, because we would leave in the middle of the day regardless of meetings and get drunk at Blockheads. That was a good time.
We just get drunk everywhere.
R.I.P. Blockheads. R.I.P. Blockheads. But you felt better at the time I was cool with all the interns, so I was like, I wasn't trying to be up there and be smacked.
And we had just shot a quick video for Chic Luch in the office. Boom. I got my cameraman with me. And we're walking to the elevator. It's you. It's Hove. And I think it's the A&R with the freckles, Pecos.
Yeah.
So we go in the elevator. The camera guy, he's shook because he's never met Hove. You're looking amazing. I'm like, who the fuck is her? So now we had these cameras at the time, but everybody's used to seeing the bulky cameras.
Yeah.
So Hove turns and looks and says, yo, that's a nice camera. My camera dude, he froze. He can't talk.
Of course.
I look at you and Hove in the face. I was like, yeah, we shoot cocaine with that. You and Hove were like, we wouldn't know nothing about that.
Nope, surely would not.
And then I was like, neither would I. We got off the elevator, and I always remember Tony Yayo said, it's 3 niggas you don't fuck with. Hove, 50, and Jay-Z. I mean, and Diddy, Hove, and 50, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they got ninja money, and I saw the ninjas with y'all. And I always think about it. Had I gave a different answer, because Esso always says, you was really wilding back then.
Oh.
How different my life would have been.
Hmm.
That's the business look of it. Because
the white dude with the big ass head would have just ripped your larynx out your throat.
No, but what I'm saying is, had I gave a different
answer, you'd be dead. I never knew his name, but I know the big white dude with the big ass head will rip your larynx out your throat.
Norm and Julius, they grew up they played professional rugby together in the Netherlands. They're both Dutch. So Julius is, for the Beyonce fans, everybody knows, Julius is Beyonce's bodyguard. Okay. Norm used to be Jay's bodyguard. Norm passed away, actually.
He did?
Yeah, a number of years ago he passed away.
Okay.
He had a heart attack, which was really sad. But yeah, Norm was not with the shits ever.
Listen, ninja money.
Never like if you saw to catch him smiling and having a moment where his guard was down, you had to be like.
I think they had it on camera one time, like a picture. He smiles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was like
never.
a big deal because dude was like, wow, like
it was. He was
dude
very
didn't
serious.
talk. Dude was a straight business, son. Rip your larynx.
Nah, because we talk a lot of business on there, and I always, at the time, it was a interesting interaction, but what if I'd answered in a more professional way and say, yo, these are the new cameras? Because his question was more, he probably thought we were like paparazzi because nobody knew these were video cameras at the time.
Right.
So had we said something, it might have been a different trajectory. Yeah. So I think about it more. It's a funny story, but then Bridget would have been like, yo, shoot my video. Hov would have been like, yo, let's do this. especially at that time, which I had
from
going.
Brooklyn. He from Brooklyn.
There you go.
She called BK.
It might have worked.
You know what
You never know.
You never know. I mean, I think it's hard. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like you never really know when the moment is going to be. I feel like with Jay, there were not a lot of those moments in general where the opportunity. That's why, like, when that whole conversation was going viral on Twitter last year, or maybe like 2-3 years ago, people were like, oh, will you take $500,000 or a dinner with Jay-Z? And everybody's like, oh my God, the dinner. And I was like, y'all really think Jay is going to sit there with y'all and give you the secrets at dinner? Y'all gonna be sitting there. Y'all gonna be sitting there at Cipriani, and he's gonna just totally spill the beans. Like no shot.
Oh, this is what you need to do. This is your $1 million thing that I didn't give to Lenny Yes or nobody. I'm gonna give this to you.
I'm gonna just give it to you while we're here. Might as well.
Let's give real context.
Like, come on.
These are two individuals that actually spent time with Hov.
So it's like, I would just laugh at that. Like, y'all really think that it's that simple?
And we got two totally different relationships. She had a different, like, they toured, they did other things. Mom was straight business, Rock Wilder, working with Beyonce.
Yep.
You just knowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we had two totally different relationships, but when that came to the same question, we had the same answer. It was
definitely like, I mean,
I would be like, you be more inclined to fuck with Hov if you have $500,000.
You have $500,000 and you trying to invest it somewhere and you trying to be in business
just
with
go
them,
where he
that's a better entry point for a conversation.
It's gonna take $500,000 just to keep up with him for 6 months.
Right.
So it's like, take the $500,000, start trying to go where he at, have your ideas and shit ready, let people see your face about 5 or 10 times, and then somebody will come and say, yo, bro, it'll happen. See, people don't know that. If you're around constantly, and people know your face, and you're not causing no trouble, and you're about your business, whether your business is working or not, if you're not about no trouble, they're going to be like, yo, I don't know son name, but I know him, son cool.
Absolutely.
And sooner or later, somebody's going to be like, yo, son.
Come on board.
No, what's up? They ain't just going to say, come on board.
No. I don't say come on board. Like, where do I know you from again?
Exactly.
Like, they'll be like a slow build. Intro conversation.
Yo,
but
Bridget,
come on board.
I just get those. We'll be like, yo, what's up? You want to come on board? I'm like, nah, I turn down shit more than get off, you know.
I mean, that's a blessing.
Not with Jay-Z, you ain't get you.
I mean,
not with Jay-Z
understand,
and Puffy.
Hov started the convo with me.
But that could have been your choice.
My entry. That's why I said to Bridget.
Maybe he felt your Brooklyn vibe.
Yeah.
He's a Sagittarius like me.
Yeah, and
sometimes you wake up on a day where I'm just like, I'm going to give everybody today. This is just me. Whatever it is, I'm talking to people today. I'm taking pictures today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say shit.
You gotta be in the mood for that though.
That's how we are. And he might have just been
I'm
in
an
the
Aries,
mood.
so it's
fire
sign. It's fire all the time.
Fire signs have always shown me a lot of love. So
what's your sign?
Virgo.
Oh yeah, I'm a Virgo rising. I get that. Yes.
See, I'm all fire sign.
Yeah.
All the way through and through.
All Sagittarius.
Wow. I'm an Aries. I'm a double Aries, Sun and Moon, and then
all Sagittarius. I'm learning.
You're learning
in my age to chill now.
Why? Were you out of control? Were you out of pocket for a little bit?
Yeah, like even when me and you met, me and you met 10, 12 years ago.
It was longer than that.
Yeah, but that's when I was chilling. You got to think, I was fucking running around with Rock from 2002. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like popping E, like niggas was wilding. Like wilding. I think I told Ghost my first night out with Rock in California, I smoked weed with Paris Hilton. I got drunk with Redman.
Wow.
Jumped in the car with EPMD, me, EPMD, Reggie, Rock Wilder, and somebody else. Keith Murray was in jail. This is my first time. Oh, and Jane Blaze. Shout out to Jane Blaze. Jane Blaze was there. This was my first night out. Bambi Bradley, Milton Bradley's daughter. She had diamonds on her shoes. We met Bambi Bradley. I'm like, damn, this is the life.
I don't want to cut you off. This was all in one night?
One night.
Oh my!
No, my first night. We was at the fucking.
My first time meeting Jay was that.
We was at the Mondrian on Sunset.
I literally, Tata called me and was like, "Yo, just pull up to Spotted Pig." And I was like, okay.
That was a Spotted Pig.
We were always a Spotted Pig.
He owned it a piece of it.
Yeah,
or something,
so he was like, yo, just pull up to Spotted Pig. And I was like, well, are we having dinner? Like, what's the attire? Like, I'm tomboy swag 90% of the time. So I'm like, what's the vibe? Like, tell me how I'm supposed to be showing up because I don't know who's going to be there, what the situation is going to be. He was like, it's fine. Just come as you are. All right, cool. So I have on like just some jeans, just a raggedy sweater, like was not cute at all. I did my makeup. I remember doing my makeup and I flat iron. I had bangs at the time, so I did flat iron my hair. So I looked nice, but it was regular. It wasn't like, it was giving business cash. It was not.
Got you.
It was not suited
Even
for the
back
room.
then, it was giving business cash because you was young, so you was coming business cash.
I mean, that was the club from like 2006 to like 2008 was business cash. Everybody, all the girls in the club had the the belts with the blazers and then we were all belts in a blazer for no, I don't know why, but either way. And heels on, just looking dumb. Just spicy secretaries for what? Spicy secretaries in the club. This should be the
name of that episode. Spicy secretaries.
Like, we were spicy secretaries at the
Featuring
club.
Bridget Kelly.
Like, yeah, it was ridiculous. But so I pulled up to Spotted Pig, and there's like security, there's like people, there's the Secret Service guys with the earpieces.
And you like, what the hell is
and I'm
going
like,
on?
what the fuck? What is it for dinner? Like, this is what we do for dinner? And I have no clue what's going on. I had just like gotten the offer to get signed and, you know, whatever. Tata's like, yo, just come. Jay is here. Like, you know, it'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, so, all right, so Jay is here. So let me calm down. Let me compose myself. And I'm walking through the restaurant. There is security all over the restaurant. So now I'm like, who the fuck else is here that I know, like, I get it, but Jay, you own this place. Like, this is ridiculous now. So we walk up the stairs, go up to the roof, and then this guy pats me down, like at the top of the stairs. And I start laughing, and the guy is like, looks at me like, what do you laugh? Like, are you surprised? And I was like, I mean, this feels a little bit excessive. Like, this is aggressive now. It was, so we get inside
and tell him who
and
was
it's
inside.
not aggressive because it's Bill Clinton. It's Bill Clinton, it's Bono, it's Chris Martin from Coldplay, Gwyneth, J and B, and Tata, and his former wife Marquita. So I'm now like, hey, and it's this family style. It's just like this family style table. It was set up like the Last Supper, and I just walk in all late, like, hey, sorry to interrupt. Like, now I see why I was pat down. The former president is sitting here just.
But that's how it happened. That's how I met Denzel Washington. Was at a 106 in Park joint. And I can't say what was going on, but we wound up being upstairs and people was drinking. And I was waiting. I'm like, yo, who the fuck got this bathroom? Like, yo, this nigga taking all long. And he's like, yo, it's me, my nigga. Come on. I was like,
oh.
What up, dog?
Hey.
Oh shit! What up, my nigga?
The equalizer hooked up on you.
Yo,
wow.
Nah, but he was cool. He was cool as shit. Cause I'm talking wild shit out the door.
Right.
Like I was younger. I'm like, yo, who the fuck?
Right.
What the fuck? And the girls just waiting. Yo, I'm in front of all y'all. Y'all bugging. I'm important in here. You know what I'm saying? You bugging. Niggas like, it's me, my nigga. I said, oh, all right. It ain't even nothing to say, yo. My bad. Yo,
it's wild.
Yeah.
It was wild, and because that stuff never. Like, the beautiful thing was that I was so young and so green at the time, so I didn't realize the magnitude of that. But now that like everything that we do now is social media based, everything is exposed. I'm like, yo, I'm happy that I have those memories of things before that time, right? Like, nobody was thinking about anybody busting their phone out to take a picture or a video in that moment. Like,
you couldn't even.
It was impossible.
You wouldn't even think to do it. Like, nobody would even think to be like, oh shit, let me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even a thought.
Was,
exclusivity.
Yo, we wasn't even taking pictures.
We were not.
We were
not.
In order to take a picture, it was major,
right.
And it was one.
Right.
Yo, Clue, Hov,
everybody
right.
get
in
one
photo with everyone.
Yo,
and
we
was
there because niggas was like, I'm not even telling people, like, for me to take you to a party back then was like, you can't even come in this shit. Like I told people about the first Rock Nation brunch. Niggas don't even know about that shit. I was like, why are we doing the brunch? I was like, well, I didn't get it. And then we going to brunches, J. Cole right there.
I was confused because I was just like, I mean, these are because they were regular people to me.
To us, and we was chilling
so
every
for
day.
us, we're
so
like,
we're
always at brunch. What the fuck is this?
And then the second year came around, I was like, oh.
It got fancy.
Yeah.
The second year got real nice. They was giving out, they had the little Gucci iPad sleeves. Remember that?
I get the brunch now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then Neo was doing the midnight brunch.
Yeah.
Yo, when it wasn't no social media, I'm sorry, I understand people is making more money now with the social media, but to be in that it was really a fraternity, whether you liked each other or not. There was really no fight. Niggas didn't like each other. Niggas wasn't fighting.
No, but everybody kept it cool, and everybody played politics and saved face in a different way.
Yeah.
They did it more so out of respect for where they were, respect for the other business
who you
partnerships.
other rocking with. It was business. It's always about business.
It wasn't like I can't really slap fire out this dude right now because I'm gonna go viral. That's not the thought process. The way it is now, like.
The way I look at it right now, it seems like with more access to cameras, they aren't those great dope moments.
No.
Even though everything is readily available to be videotaped. I still remember when my cousin was working at the Bad Boy Studio, and he called me, and the whole BMF and Young Jeezy came down with 47th Street?
46.
46.
46, Daddy's
Between
house.
Daddy's house.
10th and 11th, right?
No,
8th
between
and 9th.
8th and 9th.
Yeah, 8th and 9th.
Oh.
46 between 8th and 9th parking lot right across the street.
And yo, literally,
Yeah, because it was around the corner from the old Platinum Sound.
20 Lambos all lined up. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And it was nothing but like 30 ATL niggas. Each of them had $10,000 minimum in their pocket. You ain't ever seen that
I don't
again.
even like talking about BMF now because it's on TV and it's real commercial now.
Well,
so
watching the documentary is like, it's still vague enough that there's still those moments of like, nah, you had to be there.
You had to be there.
It's nothing.
You had to be there. Unless you were in Atlanta and you saw the billboard.
Unless you had to see the billboard, but anywhere we went,
like what?
But anywhere we went, the presence was different. It's like, I swear to God, they came out for me. They came out of nowhere, Bridget.
Yeah, they did.
It was like one day niggas is talking. I remember in 1999, I'm telling my age, Tone Bird came to me and was like, yo, you throwing parties, you big, blah, throw parties with me. And I was like, I'm not throwing parties no more. I'm trying to get into the music business. I'm going to graduate from college soon. I'm moving on to management. Right? Tone Bird, this real shit. And he was like, yo, but my cousins is being mad. This is 1999. We talking about. I'm like, who? Whatever, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I ain't thinking about that. Fast forward 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, 2002, I go to a Tone Bird function, and you can't even get liquor. And I'm like, why? Where's all the liquor at? Well, you got to go over there. BMF and them bought it. They got everything over there with them. And people was just going over like, yo, can I get it? Yeah, take a bottle. Yeah, but I couldn't go over there. Like, I was still like, I got my own money. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? But that was my introduction to who they was. And I said, damn, I missed the whole bag.
Think about this.
That was a big mistake.
Think about Tone is still out though, right?
Yeah, Tone was a party promoter.
Oh, okay. Because
that's what I'm saying.
There was never like a direct affiliation, I don't think. But it's hard.
Yeah, no,
they
but his cousin,
of people.
No, but his cousin was in it. But Tone was a party promoter. That's what everybody knew. That it wasn't nothing, and every party was like The Great Gatsby. If you ever seen The Great Gatsby with the Leonardo DiCaprio, if you watch that party scene, why I love that party scene, that's a Puff Daddy party. That's how all our parties was. Everything was going there. I still remember walking into certain things in California and things like that, and that be the presence, and that because everybody could. It was so crowded.
Yeah,
everybody was doing anything that they wanted to do.
It felt. I mean, for all intents and purposes, obviously, it wasn't always safe, but it felt safer. I don't know why social media makes me feel
anxiety,
way more unsafe and anxious.
Yeah,
more so because people do shit for attention, obviously. And they do shit for clout, even though it's not really clout. Like, nobody respects you if you out here, you an internet gangster. Like, nobody thinks that's cute. But it's still, people die for posting shit on the internet. You know what I mean? So it's still, it just doesn't, it feels much more haphazard to me now than it did when we knew we could look around the club and know who, you know what I'm saying? And know who not to look. We know whose section to stay out of.
Yeah.
We know who not to look at for too long. We know who not to bump into. We know who, like, there's just certain
codes.
There's certain etiquette that just does not exist now to me. And social media has really influenced that, I think.
Speaking of clout, I want to get your perspective on this. You being a music artist, knowing the pressure you got to deal with to deliver projects, to deliver albums, to sell a particular amount of units. How do you feel about, the timing of Sweetie dropping her record towards Quavo and like they're saying it's improper time because he just lost his nephew? As a business maneuver, what you think about that? Because I'm like, the timing is really crazy, but I get the marketing. The marketing is amazing from a business perspective. You being, because you're the only person.
I don't think it's amazing.
Well, okay.
Well, I don't think it's amazing because, There's two reasons. One, women don't win being the villain. Women don't win being the villain.
But
they don't.
I don't want to cut you off.
Women never win being nasty.
I've been seeing, though.
We can win being nasty to each other. We're not going to win being nasty to men.
What I want to interject, I am seeing there's a large contingent of people saying, well, she did get dragged through the mud.
I haven't seen that. I've seen people be tight about what she's saying, but I'm just saying for me, the marketing, people are talking about her. And people think that bad marketing is still marketing. And people are we're talking about her right now. I didn't even hear the song.
I didn't even know that she dropped something.
I didn't even hear the song, but now she knows that she dropped something. You know what I'm saying?
There's a rollout, or is what I'm hearing for the most part.
So they're doing promo and announcing. So is she talking about him in the record?
Yes.
Obviously, she's slandering him in the record.
Some negative
she's addressing all the things.
Supposedly, because I haven't heard it, but they're saying that she's addressing some things and she's talking about him negatively, and they feel like it's at a time where, you know, this tragedy has gone on. And I'm like, but
I think it's tacky, but I don't think it's her fault. I don't put stuff like that on artists. Artists don't have control over rollout. If that was the case, you know how many artists I could think of off the top of my head that would have been drop projects? We would have had SZA's whole album last year.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? If artists had control over when they want to release shit. It doesn't work that way. So we can't put that on her necessarily.
Okay.
You think the label is like, I don't want to say forcing, but
it's the label job to market. It's the label job to push it out, and it's the fourth quarter. So if it's some money that the label already spent, it's within.
They're putting it out.
They're putting it out. It's like they want to get that out, and they spend the money that they have allocated for that budget because it's the end of the year. For tax purposes, it just makes more sense to do it on this side of the year.
And Saweetie, you're the artist. You got to deal with the heat. You made the record already. Now we putting it out.
It's
like we got to make our money.
Once the label has it, it's really out of your hands. Yeah. Like you don't get to decide when. I mean.
You can stay at home and not promote it and not make no money and get dropped.
Right.
You can do that. You can be like, yo, I didn't want to put that out.
And also, at the end of the day, like, it's right before the holidays anyway. That's why I'm like, from a marketing strategic standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. Because we're coming into the holiday season. The Grammy nominees were just announced. So everybody's prepping for that. What else does she have to keep momentum going to
what else does she have now to even start
nothing.
Momentum?
That's why it's like, marketing-wise, it doesn't make sense. Like, to me, that doesn't, and she doesn't strike me based on her interviews that she's that malicious.
She doesn't strike me as that.
She don't strike me as that nasty to try to like turn the knife while he's grieving. That sounds out of character to me.
I just, the only angle I'm seeing is how they were dragging her name when the whole situation happened with.
I mean, but that always happens.
That happens.
That always happens.
So that's the only angle they're coming from. And a lot of women are feeling like, hey, so many times we see us get dragged through the media, get dragged through the mud. Finally, somebody fighting back. That's the narrative on their side. Which
I think is trash, because Megan has been fighting back for how many years? 2? Since that whole incident, and people still are angry that she's fighting back. People are mad that they feel like she instigates, and it's like, at what point?
I think I want to stay on top. I think people just don't believe her. You know,
to me, whether you believe her, somebody shot her. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? Whoever the person is, she's the victim in the situation. So whether remove Tory Lanez completely from it. Somebody shot her. So, and somebody's not telling. You know what I'm saying? Even if whoever it was that did it, it's like we don't have any of the information. So to me, if we don't have any of the information, how could we continue to lean on the side of not believing based on not having information versus believing?
I don't think they don't believe she didn't get shot. They don't believe
who shot her.
It's who's to blame for her getting shot.
And then if it's not him,
but there's no sympathy for her being shot. I'm watching the threads of people that are like, nah, she stepped on glass.
It's a lot of wishy-washy stuff. The gunpowder supposedly was found on the girlfriend's hands. Supposedly the girlfriend who was supposedly fucking with Tory, and then Megan was supposedly fucking with Tory, and Tory don't have gunshot residue on his hands. Then one doctor saying it wasn't a gunshot. It was they might have shot the gun. It was fragments from glass or fragments from there. It's so many different shit that we don't know, that I feel like that if she didn't say anything, that it would have been better. Like, we all go through situations. We going through a fucking situation right now. I'm not saying shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Mandy and I went through that. Mandy and I went through that. We weren't interested in talking about shit.
Yeah. Let y'all talk about it. We don't got to talk about it. So once you start talking about it, then you putting yourself trial by jury to the world now.
Right.
So that's why we're getting this, because if Megan would have been quiet and Tory's quiet,
which to me is also like, if it's gonna go to court and come out anyway, why would she go? But also, why would she go so hard?
But sometimes,
do you know what I'm saying? Like
no,
she's going hard to name him, so she's gonna look nuts. If you know what I'm saying, it's like, why would she do that? She's going hard, so why would she do that if there's
people
any?
don't tell the truth though.
No, but
I don't know.
People don't tell the truth, and they don't think that they're gonna get caught.
Hold on. Yes, and in my personal opinion, she might be going hard, and this is all an assumption based on some underlying hurt. She might have felt the way and really liked them and said, "Yo, you played me."
Yo, man, we in a situation. We in a situation right now that all the niggas doing is telling lies for no reason. Everybody knows it.
I mean, there is reason.
I mean, but
there is reason to lie. There's a lot of reasons to lie. We don't have to go over the reasons, but there are reasons to lie.
All right, so whatever his reasoning is, all he's doing is lying, and that's why Ghost will say the person that's lying be going hammer. We're not talking about a woman. We're talking about people. When they be coming out going crazy.
But you can't remove the fact that her being a woman she gets way more slack being a woman.
Of course.
Than she would. And that's more so the argument from everybody else's side. It's like, ultimately, whoever shot her it's going to come out in the wash. At some point, we're going to get that information.
Gotcha.
But for everyone to lean on the side of, she didn't really get shot, or the majority of the threads.
I'm not saying nobody got shot. All I'm saying is
it got crazy.
It seems very unclear who did the shooting.
If
it's unclear what the law says, if you can't directly say that this person did it, you're not guilty. So once that's out there, people are just like, if you can't tell me, if everything isn't pointing to this guy, it's pointing to this girl, it's pointing to the ground and stuff shot off the ground.
Another individual.
Other individual. There's
other people in the car.
There's a driver that was there.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Which I get that. I just think we're quicker to dismiss, like, in a domestic violence situation, regardless of who's at fault, unless we see an image like we saw Rihanna's mugshot. We don't think to defend black women. We don't.
But Megan, if you want to come talk to us about it, Megan, you're more than welcome. Come chill with us.
Let me tell you something.
We don't. Unless we saw that and it was like, oh, nah, it's game over for Chris Brown. That's how everybody felt.
I'll say this, though. But if there's our allegation on a man, he's immediately guilty.
That's true too.
Immediately.
But listen. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother thing. Let me ask.
Bridget, don't play with me.
Bridget.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you straight up. If y'all heard that Rihanna and Chris Brown got into a fight and you did not see that picture, being knowing anybody West Indian, growing up with Caribbean family, you know off rip, you're like, nah, that was a fight. Ain't no way. If you didn't see the picture, you're not gonna assume he beat her ass. You wouldn't. You would automatically assume, nah, what happened?
They went toe to toe.
They went at it. Something like he must have said something, so she got upset. She went crazy. He blacked out. Like that would have been the thought if you didn't see the Rice situation. Correct. If you didn't see the picture. And case in point, people are dragging Sweetie. Quavo dragged her in an elevator, out of an elevator.
That's why
that came and went though. That came and went. People did not talk about it. People did not care. He's still part of the Migos.
Everything comes and goes now in the era of social media.
But that's why I say.
Let me
get off a little easier.
Let me ask you a question though.
Yes.
Real talk.
Especially if women don't press charges, which is another issue.
In the era of right now, people think that this is the realest that music or TV has ever been because people are embarrassing themselves, shooting people, showing it and all that. Do you think that the reality TV situation set you up for greatness with your podcasting? Do you think that it helped you with your music?
She said
Was it a benefit of it?
No. There were 2 seasons that I participated in. The first season was absolutely horrific. And the second season was redemptive because I wasn't in a relationship and I kept the focus completely on my music.
Okay.
So, and I dropped an album during the release. So we synced music on the show and that helped push streams and sales. We did a performance. The production company had the team fly out to London because I had to do promo for the album. And they had the cast come and we shot a whole thing around the promo of my album. So the second season was fine, but as far as that contributing to the overall success and status, no. Because there's still people...
So you felt like, did it help or did it hurt your career?
I think it hurt more than it helped. I do, because I think what the intention was for me to give people a much more in-depth look of who I was and more of my personality versus my relationship drama. And I realized pretty quickly after signing up for it that it was going to be the latter. It wasn't going to be.
I think singing is such a difficult talent. You got to be, so the relatability is always going to be relationship driven more than the music.
Right. But you get to, when you're an artist, you get to dictate that when people don't see it. Right. So the time period when I started releasing music and emerged as an artist was like the last wave. That was like the last 2-year period when it wasn't about the oversaturation of content. It wasn't about the output of like your personality and what you like and what you don't like and what you wear and what you like. Social media was just beginning to like come to the forefront. So I was around artists and I lucked. I mean, it was a double-edged sword to be around established artists like a Hove. You don't know anything about Jay. No one knew anything about Jay as a person unless you had interactions with him. And even then, it wasn't something that anybody felt like they needed to.
But these kids feel like that they did.
They
were
feel
growing
like they
up
know
on
you.
Jay. They were listening to his lyrics, and I found out that these kids was actually living their life by. He was their daddy on wax.
Right. Well, also because you could fact check that. Then there's nothing to. What are we fact checking now? The internet. Like that's where we're gonna go to fact check. Like there's gonna be people that lie that say they knew you when blah blah blah. If you knew Jay back then, there was probably a dozen people you could go to in Brooklyn that could verify his story. You know what I'm saying? That was no problem. But there's no one to fact check with a singer. There's no one to be like, oh yeah, well she did blah 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 blah, until you talked about it. Like we didn't know how abused Mary was when she was making those records. Not at the time. We heard about it kind of in spurts here and there.
We heard little pieces.
Pieces here and there. But unless we were seeing it, we didn't know. Do you know what I'm saying? So until a couple years into it, and then it was like, oh shit, now she's starting to do interviews. Now it's share my work. During my life, we didn't know. And that to me is her greatest body of work. So it's like, I think with any artist now, the lifestyle that you are portraying, the facade that you're creating has to match the art. And it didn't used to be that way. You used to be able to tell whatever story you wanted to tell, whether it was real or not. We just loved being singers. We loved to sing about heartbreak, but you could have been in a relationship. You could have been happily married and singing about heartbreak. To me, I've been happily married to Grant Hill for mad years, talking about there's a stranger in her house. Like, we took it. You know what I'm saying? For face value. Like, it didn't matter. Like Whitney was obsessed with Bobby. And singing, all those heartbreak songs on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. It didn't matter. We believed her. It didn't make it less believable.
I always tell him like the general public loves the story more than the actuality.
Absolutely.
And he'd be like, what the f is wrong with these people?
Right.
Like we go back and forth. I'm like, because you guys been 1%ers for so long, it'd be hard. I'm like, no, they believe this. They want to know that Bridget was in the elevator with Hove when Solange did this and she stopped the fight.
They want to, right? But their reality.
Bridget be like, I wasn't
there.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there. I mean, I remember. I mean, and again, I came out around the time when blogs and all that stuff started to, and it would be media takeout would capture me all of a sudden and
Concrete
be like,
Lou.
oh my God, look at Bridget Kelly. This is Beyonce's Creole cousin, and I'd be like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, how did y'all? That's a
I'm
reach.
not even Creole.
I'm not even Creole. I don't even look like. I look nothing like Solange. And be like, yeah, you see, they're all at this family gathering, and
You
I'm
could
just
be
like,
family.
Yeah,
though.
you could be family.
You could be family.
it was just.
Stop. You could be family.
It was just, but the timing.
Don't do that.
But then the next week it would be like, oh, Bridget and Jay-Z in Tokyo taking shots in the middle of the night. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? It would flip flop.
Because I'd be like, yo, who is she?
It would flip flop.
And that's why I would say, I tell them I don't read comments. I don't care about none of that.
No.
People
Yeah,
are gonna
it's
have,
regular.
they're gonna love you. They're gonna call you this, and then one day they're gonna find out something. They're
Right.
like, oh, I didn't know he's
Right.
really that guy, or I really hate him now because he had a lot of chicks
Right.
when he was young. They flip flop.
But
so
you know
bad.
why that is, though? This thing that we're doing here now and getting this attention and notoriety is very coveted right now.
Yeah.
It has an extreme level of value and notoriety. And people are like, how are we going to get this to happen? We've been fortunate we could pump out a YouTube channel and get thousands of subscribers.
Oh, we got 15,000 in 2 months, and we pumping.
We love that.
And we fucking pumping.
And,
You heard me?
and there are other people. Kevin Samuels was like, it took me years just to get 1,000 subscribers.
I mean,
I forgot y'all had issues.
Come on, man.
Not
We ain't talking.
surprised.
Yo.
we won't speak ill of the dead.
Yeah, we not.
Yeah,
Thank you.
were you
Thank
not
you.
part of the
We
party?
won't speak ill of the
A lot of
dead.
people have
Bridget.
parties. So
I'm not a party person. I don't dance on people's graves.
I know.
Do you still make music? Are you still recording?
I started again, but I stopped for a while, mainly because similarly to Love and Hip Hop, the parallel between Love and Hip Hop, reality TV in general, and podcasting is people care more about going viral. Making music to me was like, I want to make music that people like. I want to make music that people.
I want to produce a piece on you.
Okay.
With Ghost.
Okay.
I want to go back to the L train where you sang when you was a kid.
That would be dope.
Yo,
let's do it. I'm down.
I want to pull the same speaker you had.
Yeah.
And we gonna put money down.
Oh.
And we
love
gonna go
BK
crazy.
t-shirts.
Yeah. We
Okay.
gonna sell t-shirts and we gonna.
It won't
go.
be CDs though, because they don't.
No,
really make
I said I
those.
didn't say I said t-shirts.
No, you know what?
okay,
No,
okay, okay.
No, but just selling CDs again. Stop. And
No.
because they signing them as
Yeah.
Glorilla just did it. They
Yeah,
selling CDs
heirlooms.
and
That's
vinyl.
fire.
And vinyl
That's
again.
heirlooms.
Yes.
Yo, there's
CDs
CDs,
are
and
heirlooms?
vinyl. Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. No, I
You know
mean,
what? You could have a scan drive.
Yeah, the little flash drives.
And have it packaged with a CD or a vinyl.
No, we're gonna do
Flash drive, yeah.
She says she's filming, right?
Yeah.
So she's gonna do 5 or 6 songs.
I'm down.
You know what I mean? And we're gonna produce their piece, and we're gonna go down to the train station, and she can sing all 5 or 6
I'm down.
songs live,
I'm down.
and we're gonna record it.
But
And
that's the difference, right? We made music to develop fandom based on the quality of what we made,
Of course.
right? So to me, it was all about the quality of the voice, the integrity, the songwriting, and all of that. You do it because you want to be liked. Reality and TV and podcasting, you don't want to be liked. You just want to be heard. You're not seeking to be liked. 9 times out of 10, the most successful people are not liked. They're
Yeah.
shitty people, actually. So
Question. You've done both at a high level. Media, podcasting, television, music. Which do you enjoy creatively and which was the best financially?
podcasting has been the best financially. Podcasting and television have been the best financially. I still get residual checks from random shows that we did on that I did with Jay on TV and everything else.
When you do the podcast, and they got more than us. They got sponsorship. And
They got
all that type
everything.
of
We
stuff.
did it, yeah.
But-
we did
but-
it, and
but
we did an ad partnership.
Yeah, and we do it differently. We get our money differently. We do and it's still been like I tell people right now. I said podcasting right now is the first thing that's putting me back to where I was in like 07, 08 with getting my money how I want to get it.
Well, also just being able to count on it without having to like constantly be, you know what I mean?
What you mean count
for
on it? When you
It's like once you can, it's easy to pick up momentum with advertising. Like once your growth is not going to stagnate because y'all are making quality content at this point. So people that are tuning in, it's a natural progression to spread the word. Even if it's a slow burn, it's not going to stop growing because podcasting is gradually still becoming more popular, still trendy. So it's like, the more output that is the natural growth is going to happen. So it's like you can count on advertisers, you can count on the money coming in. It's the momentum that you don't necessarily have when you're creating and you're only counting on music or, you know what I mean? There's no opportunities for passive income.
The influencer market is unlimited.
Right.
We can influence clothes, sneakers, overall style, hair, glasses,
all of it,
nails, jewelry,
all of it,
everything, hats.
Yeah.
It's unlimited. You can endorse sports teams. Whatever that we do that's dope, we can influence on that market. With music, you got to blow up and be a super duper star to do that.
Yeah.
And then they look to see
everything else.
What you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But how, all right, on the business tip though.
Yeah.
And I know these questions, but this is what people want to know.
Yeah.
How does a songwriter, how do you have a song that ends up on your record and also on the songwriter's record at the same time, legally?
Can you give me an example? When you say it ends up on the same...
Like if a songwriter, like say I wrote the record for you and you put the record out. Am I going to be able to still put the record out on if I want to put out a project as well?
It depends on who owns if you own the masters of the project, sure.
So you think that the songwriter would be able to own the master? Like say you at Rock Nation, you know what I'm saying? And you doing your thing and I give you the record. Do you think that I'll still have the power after I've given y'all the record to still put it on my project?
Unless there is a contract that says that the label then owns the record. And there's been money paid. There's been a transaction where there's been money paid for the record. The songwriter owns the record. The songwriter and the producer own the record.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean,
so you ever been through that with yourself? Because don't you songwrite and then you take songs too?
Yeah, but I mean, it happened. The Frank Ocean situation that happened was more so because proper like the paperwork and stuff wasn't in order, but also as a creative, he was completely attached to the record and did not want to give the record up.
Okay.
So he released. They couldn't come to an agreement about it, despite whatever conversations were being had. And if the song was gonna go to an artist, he wanted it to go to a bigger artist than me, and I was a new artist at the time.
Okay.
He knew ultimately as a creative the power of that record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think About Forever is the record, if anybody, or Think About You. I don't remember which title he went with, but that song. I mean, we recorded an album around that record. Like that was the one. We were so excited about it. That was, you know what I mean. And he did it with my producer, with Shay Taylor. So shout out to Shay. We didn't think anything of it. So he decided, if it's not going to go to Beyonce or Rihanna, I want to keep the record because y'all are not going to know what to do with it. Essentially, that's how he felt. He was like, she's a new artist. It's too big a record for her. Y'all not gonna run it the way it needs to be run. I'm gonna just keep it for myself.
And by run it, he meant by put the budget behind it. Correct?
Bridget, hearing that story, hearing how you came into the game, and you're under a different scrutiny as a woman. You got to look a certain way, maneuver a certain way. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You can't be broke. Nothing like that. How do you maintain your sanity? What are things you're doing? You've lost out on a big song from Frank Ocean. You started out podcasting when nobody even knew you were going to be in this space, so you came up differently. How do you keep yourself sane? What are the factors you do? Because how do you control your insecurities? Because everybody think when you're in this space, you're Superman and nothing bothers you, a superwoman. I want to hear the rundown for the women that are watching this and like Bridget inspires me.
I mean, I had a backwards entry into the industry. I started here. It's like my first performance as a signed artist was at Madison Square Garden. So for me, I was around.
You hitting home runs already.
Right. Out the gate. You know what I mean? It's like you going from the G League to the All-Star game.
How'd your head feel? How was you? Was your head intact, or was you on some different shit?
Was you on,
when I started getting my money, I told people.
See, but I didn't get money when I got the notoriety.
Oh, okay.
They didn't come hand in hand, which is the ultimate misconception about artists is you think you have money. No. With the artists, I was still I was taken care of, but it wasn't money. I wasn't seeing
make sure your
six
rent
figures
is good.
in the first.
You need a couple dollars, we got you a stipend.
Yeah, and then I was able to go on tour, and that helped me out a lot. And then I did like some guest appearances on television shows and hosting and things like that. That helped me out a lot. I really wanted to host 106th and Park. That was like on my bucket list. No, I wanted to host the show. I wanted to host the show. I wanted to do the countdown and talk to the artists and I really wanted to do that.
Was that before the business got fuzzy, before Frank took the record, or was that something you wanted to do, period?
It was something I always wanted to do, right? I looked at J-Lo's business model and I was like, that's the direction, that's how I want to attack the industry.
Explain, please.
Because she always wanted to do music.
She did it.
But by starting, she was an actress playing an artist.
Selena.
So she got the notoriety and the attention by playing a different artist, but she bodied the role. It's like, obviously there's elements of her in there. And then within like 2 years of that being one of the biggest movies of the 90s, she releases a project. And now she's doing music and she's doing movies at the same time. And she's, you know what I mean? It was all these simultaneous things that were working in her favor just to like make her a household name.
But she was so special. Because she had the special sauce, because she had Puff Daddy, who was hot as a firecracker, and then Puff Daddy walked her ass to Corey Rooney, and Corey Rooney told her had the budget and the song.
Think about all the people she was around. She was around 50, early 50. Yes. She got to see that. Puff, Tommy.
You also have to bear in mind, though, too, she worked her ass off.
Yeah, she definitely worked.
Like,
I don't want to take her credit away.
Nobody was working more than her.
A fly girl, and most people that are younger than me have no concept of
the work she put in
Living Color. No, at all. They don't remember. They never existed.
Janet Jackson videos and everything.
Right.
Come
no
on,
one
son.
knew the dancing, the choreography she was doing. Nobody was aware of that.
People don't even realize Jamie Foxx was in Living Color.
Right.
That cast is
Jim Carrey. What are we talking about? Damon Wayans, Marlon Wayans.
Jim Carrey got his start
on Living
Color. Like
David Allen Greer, Tommy Davidson.
Yeah.
The whole crew was all-stars, my
Think
dude.
about that think tank. You ever been in that
All
type
of
of think tank, Bridget, where you were just like in a room, because Esso would tell me about the rooms he was in, the rooms I was in. You just sit there like, this is a different level thinking. Like people say when they're around Elon, they could just see him thinking about, yeah, how I'm going to create another Earth. Versus you hanging around somebody, yo, what type of weed we going to smoke?
I don't think I was ever in a think tank like that. I remember being in a studio environment and watching all of the moving parts with no ID and realizing no one else is doing this right now. No one else is simultaneously digging through crates to find vinyls while somebody is playing guitar and he's like, no, not like that. It has to be so specific, like specifically pinpointing and producing. Like that to me was like a very different. What's the matter, Esso?
I was talking to him about produce. We have a back and forth. I was just talking to him about producing on the ride here. Please keep going because you're making me look like a genius. Please.
So to me, you got somebody, and there's and I will say, Dion, No ID is not the only person I've been in a room with that has done that. Jerry Wonder is another person that does that. And so to me, there are a handful of
Dr.
guys.
Dre does that. He makes his own sound.
I heard about that.
So
I seen him do it.
So in my mind, I'm like, this is why I want to be in music, is because of moments like this, where it's like there are so many different creative avenues that people can go down, and whatever the product is, people have already decided before you even hear it, before it's even done, that it's going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And so to me, that there is something about that, the essence of music in those moments, the collaborative effort that's like, oh my God, this is why we do the shit. This is really why we do the shit.
And then you find out after you do the song, and then when you're trying to do the business, then you find out, hey, motherfucker's an asshole.
Well, it wasn't
all
even
assholes.
Right. But also there's no room for anybody that is that creative and whimsical in that dreamy state of creation that's going to come in with a business model and try to confine all of that without it being offensive. There's just no way there's no way around that. Which I think was why the Frank thing was so tough, because it was just like, I'm an artist and I get it. Like how can I tell this artist that, you know what I mean? He has no idea that he's probably going to derail my entire project by doing this. But it's not. But it wasn't about me. Like his decision wasn't about me. It wasn't to smite me. It wasn't to shit on me. It wasn't. It really wasn't about any of that.
Idea
that was just his
That
was his creative thing. And I'm sure that has happened to countless artists who have wanted a record or thought a record was supposed to be for them, and they passed on it, and they, you know what I'm saying, and then it ended up blowing up for someone else. So we hear those stories all the time where it's like, damn, that's a record I wish I would have had. There's plenty of records I listen to now, and I'm like, pretty sure I would have done that. I would have done a better job.
And that's why I asked you about your mental state and your resiliency, because to have what's happened with you with Frank, to have even when the whole breakup with the Joe Network, even when the co-host, there's a lot of shit you've had happen to you publicly for over 13 years.
Yeah.
Some people just get viral for a couple of months and that's their whole life. 13 years minimum. You've been in the news for some fuck shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, yo, how does she mentally deal with this?
That's why
honestly, that's important to me.
I use J-Lo as an example because she can just pivot when it's like, if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't, and she's a fire sign too. There's just something about me as my sense of myself as a person is like, if something doesn't work, if a situation doesn't work, okay, I'll move on to the next situation and make something else work. I always felt like I had the capacity for that. So if music doesn't work, all right, cool. I'm a personality. I can read a teleprompter. I know how to talk to people. I read. I do the work on myself. I'm in therapy.
But you're different. See? You know why? And I'm going to stop you right there. Because of the experience that we have, you know that singing might have been just a thing that opened the door.
It.
I might have loved to do this. I might have wanted to go on stages and they come and all 30,000 be here for me. But you know what she is? I'm thankful because being in this business and being around this, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that too. And they're chunky positions. I can make a lot of money. Yeah. I still got the relationships with these people. Yeah. And I can use my relationships with these people to make this area much better.
Yeah. And also from what she was identifying, she has great self-awareness. She's like, I can read a teleprompter. I'm in therapy. I know how to pivot. Sometimes people like to keep running their head into the wall and be very bullish. They're like, hey, if I keep pumping it through, something's gonna hit. You know
Right.
that theory. If you throw it enough, something's gonna land.
Well, it goes one way or the other. It's either something's gonna land or it's
or you're
insanity.
finished.
Or you're insane. You're
Yeah.
doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Which to me was always like music was always just the fuel in the tank for me. I love making
See, it was
music.
everything for me at first. You know when the change
It was everything for me too. But when I realized that
Interesting.
my success was not going to be predicated on how talented I was. I learned that very early.
But your talent, see, I came in this business, so like y'all gifted, talented people have a different.
Let me tell you
ride.
something. Timing weighs so much more in your success than talent.
Yeah.
Timing plays a much bigger part than talent. There were a lot of talented people that were doing music around the same time I was, and after that, who made records, who worked just as hard. Like, to me, the idea that if you stay the course and if you work hard, that's not true. That's not true in music. It's not. You can have more talent than anything else. The timing matters more than anything else.
You know what else? Likability.
And likability.
The connection, who you coming through.
Yeah.
Which is hard. Which to me was also why I needed to stay in front of people's faces in a different way, because if I kept coming with music and nobody cared and I wasn't a part of a label, then it's like, oh, she's still trying to do music. Oh, she's still trying to.
That's that vibe.
And so it's like, but if you see me, I'm on a podcast. I'm doing very well financially. I'm very excited. Like, I'm in love. I'm engaged. My life looks great. So if I want to make music now,
you see how she snuck that in there, in love and
so if I want to make music now, the perspective that I'm making music from is not going to be from a bitter, I'm still trying to be hot perspective. I don't care about that.
You think that's acceptable now? Because one of the complaints they've always had about Mary is her music was always better when she was in effed up relationships.
That's selfish, though.
You know,
it's true.
When she's happy, Mary, this music's okay.
I mean, it's true.
It's true.
It's true for most.
How about you? When
Beyonce
do you make
is the only artist to me that's been married and has a family and is living a seemingly beautiful life on the outside, who can still make music about anything, and it's fucking great.
That's an amazing analysis.
She's the only
Accurate
person.
analysis too.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's good or bad, but the music is fucking great. What can we say? What can we really say?
If the podcasting money is good, which we're acknowledging is good and it's getting better, why do you think that people who rap or sing want to go back to that now?
Because from a soul perspective, it's more fulfilling.
Thank you. That's the talk.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, from a soul perspective, because again, podcasting. Part of the success of podcasting is the
Let me ask you this.
The viral appeal. So it's like, if that I can't totally inject my entire being into the idea of my popularity only being contingent on how messy I can be or how gossipy I can be. That's not really who I am anyway.
Bridget, take that gossip clickbait thing out. I give you two options.
Yeah.
You're doing Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
You have the choice of, it's either you get to perform the best body of work you have, or you get to sit down with people you enjoy, and it's really like a TED Talk moment, and you're really delivering the consciousness of who you are and speaking. Which one would you go for? Which one speaks to your soul first?
Singing in Carnegie Hall or talking in Carnegie Hall? Singing in Carnegie Hall. The acoustics are way better for singing than talking.
I got you. But you know what I'm saying?
It's Carnegie Hall. Like, if I have a chance to sing in Carnegie Hall, I'm going to sing in Carnegie Hall.
She still will want to sing.
Yeah, but for me, it's not for the sake of. I think initially I felt like I wanted to make music so I could be relatable to people and connect to people. That doesn't have to be my why. My why has changed now.
Do you feel fulfilled in what you've accomplished in music career, or do you think
No, I don't think so.
And I'm not mad at that.
I haven't been fulfilled in my music career neither.
But I think a lot of the factors had less to do with me, which is why I still
too.
feel right.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But the reason why I asked that, there are people that don't know what it is to be on a big stage, to do a song with Hov, to sit down with Frank Ocean.
Right.
They just want to get to even that point. Esso and I have arguments. I'm like, there's points he's been in his career.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen that. I was like, I just want to get to this, and I'm good after that. I don't care. But vice versa, there's things he's seen me do. He's like, yo, I'm like, I don't care.
There is an element for me, because everything started so backwards, that there have been probably more moments that I wished it didn't go that way.
Successful moments you had, or?
Well, I mean, I just wished it didn't. I wish that my career didn't start at such a high, because it set the bar at an unattainable place for me. So then when it came time for me to do the grassroots shit, and I was hype, people would treat me and look at me like, what do you mean? You're signed to Roc Nation. Why would you want to go to Shreveport, Louisiana? And I'm like, bitch, I sell out in Shreveport. I don't give a... That's not my life. Like the Jay-Z tour, that's not my money. That's not my show. That's not my band. That's not my production. That's not my lights. Like, that's not me. I was a part of a really incredible movement at a time in music, especially for Jay, that I think is just completely timeless.
The Second Life is a whole. His Second Life.
It was his second life.
Has been the biggest book. Who would think? Who would think that his second book would be bigger than the first? Because the first book was fucking legendary.
Empire State of Mind was his first #1 record.
Yeah.
Ever.
Which is scary.
Which is crazy to think about. He had a 15-year career before he had a #1 record.
And that was the Yankees theme song to such a point that when they won the ring, they gave him a championship ring. Yeah. So when I think about
we flew back from Berlin. We were at the EMAs and flew back from Berlin to make it back in the morning to make it to City Hall to be able to sing and be able to perform that record. Right? Yeah. And I had no money. I had no money in that moment, at that point. I had no money.
So you're singing for the world champion New York Yankees right down Broadway.
When I did 9/11, I had a job. When I did the 9/11 show at Madison Square Garden, I had a job. I got up the next day and went to work. I managed a Pilates studio.
That's real shit.
And nobody believed me at work. I was like, I sang at Madison Square Garden last night. And everybody was like,
lying ass bitch.
Like, wow, drugs. Drugs. A lot of drugs. And I had to go on YouTube. This is when everything was, and it was on YouTube.
Remember old YouTube, 480?
Yeah.
He don't know about that era. I'd be like, 1080?
1080p is a luxury now.
Yeah, that's a luxury. Oh no, he's a 4K.
He hates them. He hates
them. Oh yeah,
them.
he's a
he hates the 1080p. He despises. He despises 1080.
Bridget, he don't know about the 280 era. Oh, fog. Oh,
it was all foggy. It looked like you looked like you were literally transmitting from space.
Yes.
Like it was bad.
It sounded. You could always hear the air conditioning flowing.
It was pixelated. It was bad. But so people were able to go and see. I had a job. But to me, I didn't. There were elements and moments where I felt like I felt like I didn't earn it, like it was just given to me.
Interesting.
Even though I worked really hard, but it was like as an artist, I didn't do
You was grinding even when you was at Roc Nation.
I was,
but some people just get a different situation.
I know, but there's artists who have sold millions of records that will never sing to a full 30,000 crowd, 30,000 person crowd in Madison Square Garden.
That's a fact.
Do you know what I'm saying? So there's people that have really done the work with their teams, with their, you know what I mean? I didn't do any of that in the very beginning. I got asked to do a favor.
How'd you get into the Roc Nation mix? Who was the first person to find you to bring you in?
So my first manager, his name was Alaska. My first manager,
I forgot Alaska was your man. Alaska Gideon.
Alaska was Tata's intern at Def Jam. And so a girl that I went to high school with that I don't even know how she got my phone number, connected me with Alaska. And Alaska was like, yo, let's like bust that. Let's do a couple songs. There's like rumors that the guys are getting ready to leave. They're gonna start their own label soon. Like it's, they were prepping to leave Def Jam. They were prepping to leave the Def Jam building. And so we had like a year and a half where it was just grinding. I recorded with everyone. Didn't matter where it was. We were recorded as much music as possible. Was writing with anybody. Was singing, doing the stuff on the L train. Would go to Village Underground on Sundays and do the open mics.
So rest in peace to Ron, man.
Yeah, it was an incredible time. So I worked hard, but then I got signed in 2008, and nothing really happened that first year I got signed. I kept recording music, but they were trying to figure out the sound, which to your point about being a singer is hard. When you can sing pretty much anything. Yeah. So they had me sing everything, and I wanted to do like more of an alternative R&B kind of thing. And they were kind of like, oh no, you are giving Alicia Keys, Mary J vibes. Like that's the pocket. And you
fought it for a minute, didn't you?
I did.
I know.
I did fight it. I fought it tooth and nail.
I remember you fought it for a long time.
I fought it tooth and nail. And then I remember when I went up to Hot 97 and Ebro was like, yo, he was like, you sound good doing anything, but you're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to make a decision about where you're gonna push yourself. Because if the only thing that anybody ever hears is that you're making music that you don't really like or that you don't really want to do, no one's gonna know where to place you. Like no one's gonna know how to support you and how to be, which was a valid point at the time. I hated hearing it though, because I was like, why do I have to Why can't I just make the shit I like, that I want to make, that sounds good to me, right? I would have loved to be the female Miguel at the time and do a Kaleidoscope Dream kind of project. That would have been the ideal situation for me.
But we know.
Because also I felt like I got aged. Doing R&B music aged me. Like I was 23, 24, and they were like, nah, you got to wear high heels with everything. You got to be, and I'm like, I'm 23. Like I just, why am I not allowed to wear Jordans? What's the problem? It just didn't. It
wasn't. It was, and timing was everything, because now
that look works.
That would have been super duper. You was ahead of your time, because
that timing.
Because the fashion. Because the funny thing about fashion is, the people that's really into it, are 3 to 4 years ahead of the game.
And I wasn't into it. I was just more comfortable in casual attire. That was just more. I'm a New York girl. I'm on the train. What the fuck do I look like getting on the train in 4-inch heels? Where am I going? Like, if I got to go to it's like, well, then you can't take the train. Then you're going to have to take a cab. And it's like, I don't want to spend money on a cab. I want to be on the train. I want to be on the train in a regular coat. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't feel, to me, I felt like there was more pressure on me to look the part for where I was at.
They were keen on your looks.
Which to me,
I mean, it took
away from the process of making music, because then that became the focus. The focus was like, now we have to look like we belong here because we just did Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, but I still have a job to pay my rent. So this is not, we're not being real.
Do you think your look was a detriment? Because that was always the thing. Yo, Bridget is gorgeous. Bridget is this.
No, I mean, the clothing for me was a detriment.
The better you look never could be a detriment in the music.
No, I mean,
but it wasn't to me.
In terms of how they want to package you.
To me, it just wasn't sustainable. To me, it wasn't a sustainable thing. It's like, you're gonna put me in a thigh-high boot at 24, and I don't need to.
They needed
and I'm
to
never
have
in a
that white girl budget pop bag for you, if that's what they wanted to do.
And they didn't have it.
They had to splash you with the pop bag.
And
Listen,
they didn't have it.
3 years, your rent is paid. Your stipend is $4,000.
Leave that job now.
It's $4,000 a month. That's what they do. I said it about the pop girls when they said we talked about rappers could get a job. Yeah, that's cool. But when they got the white chick, they like, nah, hell no. And they're developing you for years for one hit single.
Right.
If they get more than one hit single and record out of you, they're happy.
Right.
So they're spending them G's.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? $1 million.
But that's why I say coming out at that peak point was a detriment to me, because a lot of the grassroots stuff that I needed to earn, right? Like, no one knew how hard I was willing to work. No one knew how humble I was about working with whoever. I didn't care.
That's how you get the money too.
Do you know what I'm saying? And to me, it was like, yo, I'm a nice, like, I'm a kind person. I'm funny. I'm smart. I love creatives. Like, I'll work with whoever. And they were looking at me like, you can't say that. Like, you can't. You're not going to work with whoever. You can't work with whoever.
But you got to remember.
I'd be like, this is dumb.
I'll be trying to explain. Ghost is, you know why? Because they gave her the money, Ghost.
They didn't, but that's the thing. They didn't.
No, but you know what I mean.
It wasn't like, hey, here's $1 million for you to not work with all of these people.
No, I'm not saying that they
life
gave
would
you.
have been different, huh, Bridge?
It would have been real different.
I'm not saying that they gave you enough money. My point to people is, once anybody says, here, I'm gonna give you $50,000.
Right.
As soon as they give you the money, it's like, all right, you cash a check, right? I see you Monday. We go to dinner Monday, and it's like, okay, these are the things that I need you to change. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? You've been around me for 1.5 years. I fought to get this deal. You only gave me $50K, and now you telling me what to do too?
Yeah.
That's how it go. And then people got to be prepared for that. That's why the white people, you know what they do? They come in with their own budget. They get their budget matched. I'm coming in with this girl, with Bridget. I got $1 million. I'm investing. I already spent $300,000.
Yep.
That's $1.3 million. She's on the radio. I need you to match that. So they got to come with the cash.
But there's also development that comes with that.
Yep.
So I didn't have artist development. My development was a crash course, because we didn't anticipate that the notoriety of me singing in place of Alicia Keys was gonna be what it was.
Shit, I don't know how y'all ain't figured that shit. I thought
because no one was even thinking. It was just like, well, they signed a contract with MTV. Alicia and Jay cannot do a televised performance of this song until the VMAs, which was a Sunday, and Jay's 9/11 show was a Friday. So they contractually couldn't do it.
Oh, you mean that one show?
One show.
Oh, I thought you, because didn't you tour with them?
I did, but that one show.
That was what
was
my
where
bad.
it was like all of a
My
sudden
bad.
now Twitter, now Angie Martinez is following me on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm
you're
a
young,
new
I think,
artist. Like, well, Angie was a hero. Like, growing up here, you know, Angie's a hero.
Angie's the
Like,
deal.
she was the GOAT for
She
all
is the
things.
GOAT.
Like, even then, like, she was literally up here, and I'm like, yo, she's following me. She just followed me. Like, I'm seeing my Twitter numbers start to, and I'm like, yo, what is going on here? Twitter was just beginning to pop. It
Twitter
wasn't
was a
even crazy
different
like
world,
that.
yeah.
And this is like Wild West Twitter. Like, this
Yo,
was,
bro, it
2009 was like Wild West Twitter.
Yo.
So it was just it was just a very, it all happened very quickly. And then I go back to work, and then Jay's like, hey, I need you to have a passport, because we're gonna do this. We're gonna do London with Coldplay. We're gonna open for Coldplay. And I was like, never been to London. I have a passport, but I've never been to London. But okay,
I can get there.
I can get there. And I was like, he calls me at work, and I'm under the desk like, hey, I have to call you back. He's like, where are you? Like, I'm at my job. Like, why are you?
He probably didn't even know
He
she was working.
he laughed and was like, he laughed. He was like, wait.
Yo, you Sag niggas, B.
But they laugh at me when I be like, people don't be knowing.
Like, yo.
He's like, this nigga's at work?
He's like,
They-
that's what he was like, yo, I don't, he's like, I'm sorry.
But they don't understand reality.
He said, run that back? I was
Yeah.
like, I'm at work, Jay. I have a job. I have a job. He was like, all right, well, I just need you in London on Wednesday. Can you get there? Yeah, I'll be there. All right, cool. He was like, yo, and by the way, quit your job. Today's your last day at that job. And I was like, okay. And that was the last day of my job.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I gotta go. I'm not
Respect
coming
to
back.
Hov on that one.
But
And
you,
it was
but you
great.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People be so high up
They
Right.
don't know.
that by the time it filters down, nobody came to Jay and said, this girl got a job. Because if they would have came to him, he would have did what he said. Like, yo, she
What?
what
A
the
job?
fuck does she got a job for? But they didn't think about that. You know what
Well,
I'm
it
saying?
just wasn't, but also we didn't have the rapport then at that moment either. Do you know what I'm saying? To
Got you.
understand kind of what that even meant. So that's why I say there are moments where I'm like, damn, as incredibly grateful as I am to have been a part of so many of those timeless moments, there's still that element for my career that I think stunted me, because it also painted this picture that I was already established, right? We didn't have any, we had 3 records recorded when we did that. We didn't have any, all these different outlets were hitting Jana up, Jana Fleischman, shout out to Jana.
Shout out to Jenna Fletcher.
Like she,
teamwork make the dream work.
yeah, she's a beast.
That's where I got
Love
that
her.
from 15 years ago.
Love
that
her.
was her motto.
And people, all these different outlets were hitting her up for interviews, and she would ask us, like, you know, do you want to do this? Like, and I'm like, I don't really have anything to say. I haven't recorded any music. I don't know what my music sounds like. I don't know when anything
And
is
you
coming
was being
out.
rebellious about the type of music.
And
you
I don't
was
know
doing.
what. And here's the thing.
That was her way too. She
And I
got
was
it. I'm
like, I don't know what to tell
I don't know what to do. I know they was sitting up there like,
I don't know what to tell anybody.
They was melting like, why is she doing this?
No, so Jana literally, she was like, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you want to do something and you start doing these interviews about this, everything is going to have to follow suit. Otherwise, we all look crazy.
Yeah.
So then we were in Norway on tour. We were doing spot dates, and we were in Norway. And I'm backstage with Beyonce, and she literally says, what is it that you want to do? And I'm like, I want to fuse Brandy and Pink. If I could fuse those two things.
Beyonce asked you this?
Yeah. I said, I want to fuse Brandy and Pink. That's who I see myself as an artist. I want big stadium rock guitars. I want all that. I want all that hard shit. And then but I still want a hip hop bass line. I still need R&B vibes. I still need stack vocals. I still I'm laying it out. I'm laying it out.
And what did B say?
And she stood there nodding, and she said, okay. She was like, send me a list of producers you want to work with, and we'll get you in with them. Every single producer I asked for after that, they put me in with. They weren't happy with the shit that came out, but they still did it. They still honored my request and put me in with the people I wanted to work with.
B honored your request?
Yes. She did.
The
She
queen, not they. B sat down and said, you know what?
Yeah.
She was like,
She looked around,
she was
said,
like, I know
got you.
y'all think Dark Child is the move, but she's asking for Linda Perry. Maybe we should just see what happens. Put her in with Linda Perry.
That's a standard Virgo.
Boy, that Beyonce.
You ain't catch what she said. I know Dark. She's like, I want her to go in that direction.
I know Rodney.
I'm the same
Rodney
way.
Jerkins is the one. We
But
know.
we
Like,
know
it's
Rodney.
not- we know.
But
Like,
let her do her thing. That's me. Oh.
That Beyonce is special, boy.
But let me tell you something. If it does work, you know what B would have said? Because I would have said the same thing. I ain't think this was going to work. Salute to you. You proved me wrong.
You know what B could say too? And I'm assuming,
Enlighten us.
and I
Go
don't
for
like
it.
to do the assumption game. I hate this shit.
Yeah.
But you know what she could have been saying? Maybe I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So maybe if it doesn't
She's
work for
kindred
her,
spirit.
and maybe if it doesn't work for her, we have enough money and power to let this girl do what she wants to do.
That's a
so
ill
why are we
perspective.
not gonna do that?
I mean, I think it was just
People dream of that.
But it was also clear that that's what I wanted. If
That's what I'm
she
saying.
had asked me that and I didn't have an answer, I think the response would have been different. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
need to
knew
go in with Rodney.
I knew exactly
Yeah.
right. It would have been like, nah, you doing R&B music. This is an easy call. It's a fucking easy call. Like, carry on.
B is really a nice person. Like,
But she's an artist, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm a young female artist telling another female artist who is at the top of her fucking game what I wanted, who I am, and how I want to sound, and what we're actually doing. And then we actually got to spend time together after that, so it corroborated what my request was, and she kind of understood. We'd be backstage listening to
Question: how long did it
Radiohead
take for the
Her to
wheels to
speak?
start turning fast when you made the request to?
I mean, I was on tour for like another 9 months after that, so it didn't happen until way after that. But no, I mean, it just listen. I think now I feel bad for artists that don't have a chance to develop before they get the exposure because there's so much more pressure because everything is lightning fast
What
now.
do you think Glorilla's going through? Because she just shot up seemingly out of nowhere, got this single. I see her, they're trying to put her all over the place. Could you understand what she's going through in her shoes?
I mean, I think she's gotten some really major I think the record with Cardi has bought her a lot of time.
That see that word? Y'all
It's bought her some time.
What do you mean by time?
It's bought her some time.
Go for it too, S.
I mean, she's right, because if she would have just had the first record, she's done.
Yeah.
She's the one-hit wonder, but now she got the record. She got Cardi B on it. She has an endorsement by somebody that's really major.
Mega.
She has time to find herself because we know she's going to make money for the label now, you guarantee, and she's going to get another project.
Right.
Exposure.
That's what's buying her time.
She's also getting the recognition from like BET Awards,
Yes.
BET Hip Hop Awards. Like
But
she's being noticed, so
Got
that will also help buy her some time, so that when it is time for her to release something else,
they'll still
she'll
be
be ready.
But she might not even know
What's
honestly,
going on.
What's going on right now?
That's fair.
She could be in the hurricane in the eye though. She might not know until when it's all settling down. Oh shit, I got to get back to work. Think about Bobby Shmurda when he had Hot Nigga. He
didn't know what happened.
He came out later and said, I didn't even know what was going on. I was just going with the flow. I really didn't even take this shit seriously.
It happened
That's
too
what Bobby
fast.
Shmurda said.
I mean, I think that's what's happening with Ice Spice. I think that's what's happening with her. Is that it's all happening so quickly that her buzz in the drill world is major, but outside of that, there's nothing. It's.
I was just talking to him about her 2 days ago. I swear to God, and I said, yo, her buzz is already going down. He was like, no. She got another record. I said, do you know the name of the record? No. I said, because we didn't know her from nothing, and we knew about Munch.
Yeah.
We don't know the other record. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to show, like, people don't understand marketing.
Right.
People don't understand spending money where it needs to be spent. They don't even know why their record is blowing up. They think it's for a whole other reason.
They just think it's good luck.
So
Most
when you got to
artists.
do it again.
Well, I mean, it's when you are an artist, sometimes when you have tunnel vision, the only objective is to strike gold, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so you're not even. It's not really. It shouldn't be her job to figure out how to make that last, how to keep that fire going. No.
I mean,
I don't think it should be her job. I don't think it should be
What
the
should be her
artist's
job?
job to just make the music.
you think that's just enough?
Yes, because otherwise you end up making what you think other people are going to like that's going to sustain you versus making some shit you actually fuck with. And then you're bored and then you're over it. And then what?
I think as a young artist that works, but as you grow up and for longevity purposes and maturity purposes, you got to be able to be very conscious of this is what the system works, this is what I can do for myself, and this is what's also needed to keep this shit going if you so choose to want to be an ongoing artist. I don't think you can have blinders on for 20 years and just be like...
No, I don't think it's blinders, but I think you can make a decision pretty early on if you're going to participate in the machine and you're going to be a commercial artist,
There you go.
or you're going to be like a real grassroots artist that does like a Russ who will sell out and
He
sell
sold out
records.
Staples Centers.
Right.
Yeah.
his skin color is very different.
It's very different.
He's clear.
Look at Bridget's face.
He's clear.
He's also a man.
You know what I'm saying?
You think that plays a part?
Absolutely.
I think women could sell out faster than the man.
It costs less.
Oh yeah, it costs way less for the man.
Okay, she was about to let the machine gun off.
No, explain that though, because people don't know that.
No. It costs a lot less money for a man to get up. A man you could throw. So if you wanted to just go on stage like this, you could go on stage just like this.
With some high sneakers on, give me the microphone, I'm lit.
That's it.
Turn it on.
What is required for a woman artist?
Everything.
Minimum.
Go on.
No, go through what you had to go through with your...
For a live show?
Yes.
Makeup.
And not cheap makeup.
No.
You talking about
she's serious business.
No,
$1,500 at least.
Makeup, you're paying a day rate.
Yeah.
I won't even do a show. I'll say a press day. A press day.
Go
for hair and makeup, you're looking... easily 10 grand for hair and makeup. That's before you get to wardrobe, which you may or may not have a wardrobe change depending on how long you got to sit in the car. If something gets wrinkled, they'll swap it out.
Yep.
So you have to have 3 looks for the day. Yep. A lot of stylists, if they're not going to be with you for the whole day, because most stylist day rates are outrageous.
$7,000,
$7,000 to $10,000 for the day.
For the day.
For the day.
Freaking robbery.
So they may not. It's not really robbery when you think about it, because a lot of
Crystal Streets, they not robbing you. They making your vibe.
Why is it not robbery? Give me the intricacies on why it's not robbery.
Because depending on who you are and depending on if you have a name or not, sometimes the stylist has to pull favors with relationships that they have, which may or may not work depending on who they are. If they're not a famous artist, that used to happen to me constantly. We would actually have to pay the extra bread to a more established stylist with the relationships. We're paying for the relationships. We're not just paying for you're not paying for that clothes, because most of the time you don't keep the clothes. Sometimes you do. But if you're someone like a Lizzo's customizing most of her clothes. J-Lo is tailoring most of her clothes. B is tailoring most of her clothes. Serena Williams. These are women that are curvy women. You're tailoring this, so you have to purchase this. These are customized things. So you're looking at the price, you're looking at having to purchase what the clothes actually cost, which is thousands of dollars, and you're having to pay for somebody to tailor it and customize it for you. And then you're also paying somebody to put a whole rack of things together that are even able to be customized.
I'm loving the
for
breakdown.
For a press day, you're looking at $20,000, and you may not even keep the clothes. So for a woman,
you still gotta eat,
and you still gotta eat.
You
still have a car service.
You gotta entertain the people.
You're in a car.
After your thing, there's a dinner. There's a whole other thing.
You're looking at 3 to 4 wardrobe changes a day. You're looking at having to touch makeup up. Depending on, I'm always hot, so I'm sweating. So if I had a wig on, sometimes you got to touch stuff up. There's just things that you have to be prepared for.
As a woman,
that cost way more money, and it's no shade to Russ, but you know what I'm saying. Russ could just throw his hair in a fucking messy bun and call it a day.
He can.
And he does.
Some jewelry on. He can.
And he does. You know what I mean? He'll have a nice Casablanca shirt on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll still give you. He'll still like let you know he got coin. He's still gonna get his shit off. He's still gonna get his shit off. But ultimately, he can just show up. Women can't do that.
No, of course not.
So it's like the cost of it is just different. But I think someone like an Ice Spice, I really hope that she has a team around her that's like, yo, Halloween. You know who gave her a fucking out? Lizzo, when she did a Ice Spice Halloween costume.
Lizzo bought her some time.
She bought a little. Those kinds of moments and looks are like, all right, cool. So now people have dressed up. Now you have a signature look. So what's next? Why don't we have?
She can't wear it like that because it's gonna get played out. And when she puts her hair straight, she looks like Lotto.
Yeah.
She looks
like Lotto's twin freaking sister.
Yeah, she do.
Well, she looks just like Lotto.
I love the Carrot Top. Why don't we have Carrot Top merch? Why don't we have everybody should have some shit with that. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a cartoon face, anything.
Maybe her management is young, which is what I was gonna ask you. Do you think that I'm glad you brought that up. It's crazy. Do you think that if Alaska was a more experienced manager at the time that had found you, do you think that things would have been different for your career?
No, I don't think being new makes that much of a difference. Okay. And I only say that because I look at the Ebes of the world that started with Cole, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the newness of it matters. Ebe is a very rare case that has started where he was and stayed with Cole, and Cole is a very Stephen Victor
special person.
Stephen Victor too. He was also new, and look at the waves that he's made. Anthony Soleil, same situation, and he has made a name for himself, and he's my age. So there's plenty of managers that worked their way up to get, but didn't necessarily have all of the chops or even a mentor, if we're being honest. Not everybody has mentors.
I never had one.
Never had
So,
one. Well,
me either. So it's kind of like all those things considered, with all of the odds stacked against a lot of them, they've managed to make it work. I think what really negatively impacted me was the relationship dynamic between him and Tata and the guys. And I think because he started as an intern, that was just the natural ebb and flow. That was just the natural ebb and flow of the relationship. And it's not to say they didn't respect each other, but I do think that there were some moments where it's like, if there was ever to be an ego battle or a pissing contest,
he is.
You know what I'm saying?
He can't do nothing.
He can't really do anything about it. And so I felt like in those moments, it was like we would always get sunned for that reason. Like there would always, if we pushed back and we didn't agree, it's like, bro, you come on,
You got money now. You was my intern,
right?
And you got money now.
And
chill.
Like
you're being
you
emotional.
gotta trust us, right? Like just trust me. I know what I'm doing. Versus had he not had really known him that well at all, and it was just kind of like
a different style of respect.
It would have been a different approach. I think
approach.
Yeah. It would have been a different approach.
Respect wasn't the right word.
Yeah, because I don't think there was a lack of respect.
Yeah, it wasn't respect.
But it's definitely a different approach. It just is. It's like, you surpass it's like you being a college athlete and you make it to the league, and now you coming back to talk to your, you know what I mean? It's to kind of talk to your coach, and the coach is like, what are you talking about? I made you. Like, what are you?
How dare you?
You're right. Like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? Like,
she's a sports
fuck
person.
Out of
here. We into sports.
Sorry.
No, ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's like, imagine you playing the NCAA, and then you become LeBron James, and you try to come back and talk to Coach K, and he's like,
yo, chill,
pipe down, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like that to me is kind of the relationship.
You seem like you might relate to Bobby Knight then.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You throw chairs on the court.
Definitely throw chairs.
Yeah, you do.
Definitely throw chairs.
We
definitely
got
get
some
emotional.
games together.
Oh, we going to some games.
I mean, I'm here. March Madness, I'm with it. Mandy.
We went to the Sweet 16 because my man, he coaches for Seton Hall.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they made the run to the Final 8 when he was with St. Peter's last year. My best friend in the world.
That's the time when we seen Jaden Ivey play, and you was like,
shit.
We got the tickets. We went to the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, shit was crazy.
I'd be down to go.
They beat Purdue and all of that. Do you got a manager now?
No.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
no.
When was your spotlight moment in the podcast world, and when did you start saying, "Oh, we making money"? Did it happen right away, or it took some moment?
Oh no, we had to leave. We had to leave the JBN before we had any real idea about how much money we could make.
So y'all wasn't making no money there with Joe Biden?
I won't say no money, but definitely not what we agreed would be the minimum that we would see in our first year based on
when did you become aware that the potential of financial growth was really available outside of that network or overall
in podcasting period?
Yeah. What was a moment where you're like, hold on, what? We supposed to, and I'm not even talking about between him, just the understanding of the
money's coming. Yeah. I can make a living off of this shit.
I mean, honestly, knowing Mandy and watching how she maneuvers in the broadcast media space, and watching how she has figured out her niche. She's carved out a lane for herself that's very specific. And regardless of competition or anything else, she is 100% focused on her audience. And I think that, to me, is what makes her the monster that she is in the space. Mm-hmm. So for me, being in close proximity to her, I was like, oh, shit, okay, this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. She knows what she's doing. When we talked about the audience, the demographic that we were looking to target, the topics that we wanted to cover, the things that we knew would be kind of controversial because we don't see eye to eye on a lot of different things.
You sound like us.
We disagree on almost everything.
You sound like us.
Mandy and I disagree on almost everything.
She said me and you are just alike, and her and him are just alike.
Mm-hmm. Mandy has a totally different perspective and a different life path. Like, she's walked a completely different path than I have. So for the two of us to come together and love each other the way we do as friends too, it's like, this is actually the perfect mix and the perfect dynamic, the perfect, you know what I mean, chemistry for on-camera activity and conversation, because one, we're never in competition with each other. Because we could never, she could never compete with me, I could never compete with her in the respective worlds that we come from. And there's such a level of respect and understanding for the value that we both bring that it's like, no, there's no way. And watching the dynamic with her and her other co-host, like whether they're personally at odds or not. Their
Work.
chemistry on stage when they perform, their chemistry on their like to me it's unreal, and I've never seen anything like it. So I think partnering with Mandy was really when I knew, like, all right, cool, she knows, she got a vision. And there's no right or wrong way to do it, right? Podcasting is still relatively new.
Virgin territory.
It's called podding, right? Is that what it
podding is new.
Podding.
It's still a relatively new. It's 10 years old maybe.
If
it's
that
like,
much.
If that. So people are literally building the plane as they fly it. Everybody is. So to see the few people that we have seen be successful at it, Mandy is one of those women to me that I'm like, all right, cool. This is we can remix this model a little bit to customize and make it work for us, and hopefully kick the door open and hold the door open for anybody else that wants to come through and feels like they have something valuable.
What about the spotlight? When did that? Because you mentioned the spotlight being on an artist. When did that podcast spotlight hit you? Like, oh.
I mean, I don't even think it's. I don't think it's hit me yet. No.
Okay.
I mean, we're gearing up to do our first. We're gonna do a couple city tour at the top of the year, which is
let's
gonna
go.
be great.
We're gonna do one live show we got on deck for next year.
It's gonna be cool. To me,
I'm gonna come fuck with y'all. I'm just gonna come and see y'all shit.
It's gonna be fun. Well, I mean, and we're gonna have live music elements. So I'll perform. We'll get other artists to perform as well. We're gonna have DJ sets. A lot of it's gonna be focused on.
You look like you can DJ.
No.
Well, I'll DJ.
I am not
tech.
I am
He
not.
can DJ. You know he can actually DJ.
I'm not. Yes, I'm not technologically savvy in the slightest. Like, don't ask me to work Serato. No, I will absolutely fuck shit up. No, I can make a playlist.
I'm not technologically savvy. I'm the worst technologically savvy. No, you're not worse than me. Trust me.
It's a competition.
I only got the Serato. I can work the Serato and everything. That's all I could do. We know I'm the worst technologically savvy person probably in the entire content space.
Yeah, no, I'm horrible. So I mean, I can make a playlist. I have music knowledge, but it's not gonna. No, I'm not a DJ. But those things to me are what I look forward to. But I don't think by any means we're at that place yet, which is a great thing for me, because I'm getting to take the steps that I wanted to take in music, in podcasting, to where I have time to learn. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm learning. I was happy to be able to have the first year of the podcast be under a veteran podcaster who knows the importance of aesthetic and the quality of cameras and microphones and post production, and
people don't understand the science of that alone.
To come in and start with that level of expertise was an incredible blessing. Did it again. And I was like, I don't want to do this.
You know who else did it?
I'm like, let me start over.
You skipped
I skipped.
Understand what I said? The 280.
I skipped some steps.
Because when we started, I remember we first shot with this one camera dude, and I was like, he was like, you didn't know. He's like, this shit fire. I was like, yo, that shit going in the trash. He's like, why? The camera's not white balance.
This is garbage. This is absolutely
we're orange. You can hear the AC.
I was fucking terrible. I was like, it looks good.
I said, bro, you will get laughed at. When I'm talking about, it was orange. You know when orange.
It was bad.
The AC mic placement was terrible.
It was.
And I was used to a certain level. I'm like, yo, bro, we can't do this.
Like, nah, this ain't no way.
Bridget, it was.
And then I said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. I was fixing it, tweaking it. He said, what are you doing? I said, bro, when this shit the hardest part was getting the people to see it. Right. Everything else was easy.
Right.
He's like, what are we gonna talk about? I said, don't worry. He's like, don't worry, you good.
In 3 years, I think I've made great strides in 3 years, because I used to have to drink on camera as if people could see me live. Like, I was like, I didn't know nothing. I'd never been in front of a microphone. I was always doing business. Always helping the people create. But after 1 year, maybe a year and a couple months, we did a show. And that was the first time that I went viral, talking about Stephen A. Smith. And when we left the show, I always say this, I'll be like, yo, I forgot that the camera was on.
Yeah.
I was like, he was like, I bet this is going to be the best show. Yeah. And from that point, I was never worried about camera. Now I'd be like, yo, cut that motherfucker on. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Yo, come on.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I had really incredible media training. So there's certain things that I know, that I remember even early on in the space of being like, nah.
She started out with Jay-Z. She jumped in the pod with Joe Buttons.
I ain't
she
mad
had
at it.
media training,
traveled
the world.
I was
Chico
prepped.
Records.
It's definitely Chico Records.
While having a regular job.
I had a job.
Nah, and the story of the life is Jay-Z said, "Hey, yo, by the way,
quit your job."
Yo, who get?
You're not going back to. You're not going back to that
story.
job.
Tell
was
her
like,
the
"Yo, you're not.
fake Jay story.
You're not going back. You're not going back to your job."
Tell her the fake Jay story that everybody says.
Oh
in
yeah,
Brooklyn.
because you know the famous story when he was trying to get on in the music business, so he came to Def Jam with a duffel bag of money to coerce. You heard the story,
Yes.
right? He's like, so I tell people, people really believe that, and in his mind, it just infuriates his brain cells that they believe that. But remember what you said earlier, they rather believe the fantasy than the work. What's a better story than the drug dealer from Brooklyn who's struggling, brings a duffel bag of money?
I'm gonna tell you why the story's so whack.
Listen, chill.
Go ahead, right.
And he brings the money and they like, yo, we cultivated. And then out of nowhere, he's married to Beyonce. It's a great movie.
Let me tell you why the story's so whack now. So the greatest rapper of all time got on because of money and not talent.
See,
what you talking about?
That's not what happened, though.
No, can I say what I'm going to say?
No, because
I just
listen to this. Kevin Lyles said, "I'm not taking the money."
Right.
See, that's the part. He didn't take the money. Whether he did or not, I don't know. That's none of my business. But that story is, he tried.
Irv Gotti bought Jay-Z. And
we
DMX
know that, though.
Yeah.
You know that. She know that. The world don't know that.
Everybody knows Irv Gotti, whether you like him or not.
Yes.
Irv Gotti bought Jay-Z and DMX to Def Jam. That's how he got his Murder Inc. deal with Ja Rule.
Yes.
That's the truth.
But now with Irv's fuckery with Ashanti, no one's going to want to believe that story.
But that's cool. But
no, I don't think that's true. I think people believe the story.
He made Ashanti.
People believe the story.
Come on. But I'm just saying.
People knew, but again, you're talking about an era of the music industry where no one, there's no one around to corroborate.
That's what I'm telling you.
There were people there to corroborate the story.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people.
Insiders, like him.
They're all insiders. So it's like there's nobody
in the outside world who's going to tell you different.
Yeah, but if it isn't true, people would come out and say that's not true. That's not how that shit went down. And they could say it now, and we would question it. Like, damn, really?
But you know why people believe that story? You know who told the story? Kevin Lyles.
Right.
So now they're like the executive. Now, knowing what I know from the business, he could have been juicing it to sell.
He's a marketing genius.
Of course, but no one knows this outside of the music business.
Him, Steve Stout. There's another guy named what's my other man's name? I know you. Sincere Thompson.
Yes.
These are people that's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Okay, Sincere Thompson was the first black dude I always say that got rich off of promo marketing. Steve Stout
but you know what's offensive
translation.
I'm gonna tell you. No, I'm gonna tell you what's offensive. You're great at keeping secrets. And in the music industry, everyone's great at keeping secrets. And now he's upset that people don't know the secrets that all the people that are great at keeping secrets at.
Well, I didn't get to my point. I didn't get to my point.
My fault. You know why I cut you off then?
I didn't get to my point.
Get to your point then.
Because it's all these music purists. All the music purists want to believe that Jay-Z dropped the record, he threw it up on the shit, the DJs picked it up and said, "Oh, it's right on the wall. Jay-Z, you're fucking dope. I'm gonna make you a big star, Jay-Z." Right? So everything that Jay-Z says is fucking true.
Yo, Bridget,
that's the problem that I have with it. So now the purists who don't want to pay money, who don't believe in promo and marketing, who don't want to give a DJ in the club $1 to play their record is gonna say, "Well, Jay-Z showed up with a bag of money." And that's how the greatest rapper of all time got his deal. That's what y'all purists is gonna say. But you know, people love being hypocritical. You know that. That is the most ridiculous thing.
It is ridiculous.
Jay-Z rolled in with a bag of money. So talent played no. Even if you got to the story of Kevin Lyles saying, "I didn't take the money," where's the part of the story is the nigga was that talented though? Why y'all are not Jay-Z. So if Jay-Z, this would be scary to me, rappers. If Jay-Z being the greatest rapper of all time had to show up with a bag of money, how y'all think y'all getting on?
Well,
what are we talking about?
I mean, if all it took was money, there would be a lot more famous. Or a lot more famous.
And he's the greatest nigga of all time. So if a nigga just dropped the bag off, and that's how, I'm gonna take you serious. I'm not gonna take your money. You know what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna take this cash. Which we know is not true in the music business. You show up with a bag of cash. I don't give a fuck if they're giving you the deal or not.
That money's
taking
gone.
the cash. Are they taking the cash, Bridget?
They're taking the cash.
They're taking the cash.
They're taking the cash.
So your whole monkey ass story is dumb.
Yeah, Kevin Lyles story.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Because people
But you know
believed
what?
it.
Here's the problem. It can't be dumb because it sold the legend.
Let me say this. The story's not dumb. The fact that people want to believe these stories, not
people
Kevin
believing that
Lyles,
about
not
Jay,
the
I think is
strategy,
dumb.
not the strategy, not Kevin, because let's be correct, that's not dumb. The fact that people believe these things and will say, I will never pay for nothing.
Let me tell you the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Let me tell you the dumbest shit.
People still say they won't pay?
What? Yo, when we get off this, oh, please. We know a guy that makes $300K a month and won't pay for nothing.
200.
Let's 300.
Why you gotta throw the sauce on? It's 200.
Okay.
It's 200.
You won't believe 200.
Makes $200K doing what?
Got it. In his business.
Got it. In his business.
And I tell him like, yo, you know, certain things that
Slide
you got to pay for.
a little bit here and
yo,
there to
pay for the promoter.
Take care of people.
When people say pay, let's get this right. We're not saying pay radio DJ, radio guy. They always, that's the only thing.
You can still do that.
Yeah, but
because their salaries are not great.
Yeah, they're not great.
They're not great.
Thank you, Bridget.
We know that.
Thank you, Bridget.
That's the shit. But that's the shit that used to bother me.
That's the shit that's annoying
to
me.
Yo, where artists are kind of like, nah, they're good. And I only know that because artists treated me that way when I was signed. Other people treated me that way when I was signed to Rock Nation.
Got you.
And would ask me for shit I didn't have. Like, oh,
We're backstage.
You ain't got that kind of money? What you mean? You Rock Nation? I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm
Rock
Kelly.
Nation. I'm not Jay-Z.
I'm Bridget Kelly.
I am not Jay-Z. I'm Bridget Kelly. We are not the same.
This is the point. But they don't, they don't believe in it. And when I introduced this to, and I don't know what y'all talk about on y'all podcast and stuff, because people be like, your first thing. When I introduced this to Podden, when we was on another show.
The perspective of the business.
The perspective of the business side of it and telling the truth. They couldn't take it. You know what I'm saying? And I always sit there and say, when y'all doing this music, when we're potting, when he's on the camera, he's directing. We love to do this shit, but we want to make money.
Yeah.
Right? So why are these DJs that are taking your club, your record in the club, gonna spin it, gonna make you popular, so what? You can go do what? You can go make some money.
Right.
How they gonna make their money? They want to be there for free, and they just tell me.
Well, there's two sides to it, right? Because on the one hand, you can't be so entitled that you don't think you have to pay for things. But the other side of that is because most of these DJs have gone without being paid for so long. Now they're jacking up the price for some artists that really ain't got it, and everybody is out here. Everybody is out here faking it until they make it and struggling for real.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's like if that's the one commonality is that we don't all have it.
You know what we're all doing?
Then how do we get to a place where then I can respectfully be like, yo, I can only throw you like $150. I don't have bread like that. Is that? And I've seen it happen where DJs will be like, "Fuck out of here! What am I gonna do to $150? That's how much. That's gonna cover my storage. That's gonna cover my storage on my laptop for 1 month.
Yeah.
Fuck you mean?
I mean, essentially, we're all robbing each other just to maintain.
Right.
But
we know. But everybody knows
that's
that now.
Not true.
No. We're
not all robbing each other.
No. In the sense of, not everyone has the money.
Right.
So we're all plucking money from each other just to maintain at a certain scale. That's really what's going on. Instead of saying, hey, if we all really...
We're not doing it deliberately
it's not a deliberate thing.
To fuck each other over. It's not like that. It's not meant to destroy anybody.
You heard how she said the 150, right? It's because the bills is real.
Right.
So whoever that person's paying that 150 or whatever, they got to pluck it from somebody else. And essentially all we're doing is
plucking $150.
No, listen to
$150 nothing. You ain't plucking that from nothing. That's weed money. What are we talking about?
I know
that everyone has money.
I know I don't. No, I don't.
150.
What I haven't believed.
And that's the argument Mandy and I get into all the time. Where she's like, well, $30 at IHOP is a lot is nothing on a date. I said, Mandy.
What you said?
She said spending $30 at IHOP was nothing. That should be nothing. To take somebody on a date, $30 is nothing. If you don't, and I was like, $30 at IHOP, depending on where you live, could be a lot. Depending on where you live. Like, we live in a fucking bubble. New York is a bubble. It is expensive as shit to live here. Like, we are not, this is not normal living for most people. Like, it's just not. You have to consider that. So in my mind, I think about everybody at some degree even if we're not struggling, we're all trying to figure it the fuck out. And there's no grace granted on either side for that process.
Interesting.
And for that time. Most rappers' jewelry is fake. We know that. So if a rapper was
fake...
What's
the percentile?
Yo, my shit never fake.
So a rapper... I said rapper. Most rappers' jewelry is fake. So, not podcaster.
Podcasters got
The
real
majority
jewelry.
of podcast jewelry I've seen is real.
got realer jewelry
That
than
shit is
rappers.
Oh,
It's wild.
Bridget.
Wow. My how the
Where's
game.
your
My,
rock chain
Ghost, I'm
my
wearing
how
my
the
jewelry
game
next
has
week.
changed. My how the game has changed.
You
Where's
better
your
give me
rock
a
chain
camera
at?
next week, Ghost. I'm wearing
gave
all
it
my
away?
jewelry.
I never got a rock chain.
What?
You told
never
her
got
quit
Rockefeller
and never
chain?
gave her a
No,
rock
I never
chain?
got a Rockefeller chain. Because it wasn't Rockefeller. It was Rock Nation.
It was a Rock Nation
There
chain.
was
then.
no
But
Rock
Fab
Nation
wasn't
chains.
there when it was Rockefeller. Fab got Rockefeller chain. Fucking Yo Gotti. But you know what? That chain shit started after all of that time.
That's
I'm gonna
true.
be real. Gifting people chains and doing all of this stuff after, because the Rockefeller chain is now a classic charm.
Yeah.
So he gave it to people, but not everybody. Back then, like niggas gotta understand that at the time when we were doing this shit, you had to have your own.
Yeah.
Like Gene Nelson told you why I am the way I am, because it was goons all over the business. I was by myself. I was walking around with a bulletproof vest and a gun just to protect myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was a
but
totally
the game
different
was
time.
rugged, like how y'all just
But you had to have your shit. If you got caught
yeah,
with anything fake, it didn't have to go viral.
it was over.
You was finished. You was
She
finished.
know.
If I came to Bridget and said, yo, Bridget, you know this nigga Bleak shit fake?
Yeah.
Bleak finished.
He finished.
Yeah, it was
He's finished. You don't need no viral. It was not accepted.
Which I
Anything you had.
Which I think was also the value of presenting somebody with a chain too, was because even if you wear nothing else and you have this one, you know that you have one that's real. Because I will say, and I'm not going to name, I'm not in the business of outing people's jewelry situation,
No,
and
we
I'm
don't
not
do that.
pocket
We don't
watching.
do that.
No.
But there have been a couple rappers that I have hugged, and it's like usually
The clanking.
there was no noise.
There was nothing such clanking
was no
until this new
noise.
shit.
Hold on.
There was no
This new
noise.
shit is the
Listen,
first thing to
listen,
clank. I
listen,
never heard
listen,
clanking
listen.
There was
jewelry.
no noise
There was
on the. There was no noise on the. It was.
Apologize to Bleak. Why?
Yeah. All he was doing was make an example. Memphis Bleak has real jewelry.
And if he did not, then he would have gotten clowned and
Yes.
everybody would have known.
That's
That was
not
what he was saying.
Trust me, my nigga. Trust me.
Yeah, like
He
that's
doesn't think people are dumb.
That was
across
no,
the board.
people are
I'm
dumb.
not
Yeah.
saying that people are not dumb. I just give people credit.
No,
'cause
no,
I
no.
said
No.
what-
You see?
I said,
You're gonna
I
learn.
said I'm using an example.
Oh, no.
We can't.
Nigga, I made an example.
Everyone is dumb.
And niggas said I was.
Listen, Memphis Bleak jewelry is real. All right?
Say it with
It was
respect.
only an example of if it wasn't at
Right.
the time of when me and Bridget was in the studio, living studio
Yeah.
life. It would not have been accepted
Right.
like it is now.
Nowadays, you can hug somebody. You can usually tell when somebody has a lot of chains on and it's heavy. The hug is different because it's heavy. And I've hugged a couple rappers with a lot of chains, and that shit was not heavy.
But I don't
It was a
understand.
light-
but I
It was
don't
a light
understand
load. It was a light
I don't
load.
understand the clank, the whole clanking of the jewelry. That lets us know that it's either not real or it's not weighted.
Well, there's a difference
and
of
it's
clank.
okay.
It's a different of clank because chains that rub together will make noise, but it's
It's
more.
a sound.
It's
I'm
not
talking
a
about
clank.
the sound. I'm talking about
It's
the
that
clank.
hollow clank.
It's the hollow
Yeah,
clank.
I'm talking about
like it's real
the actual
tingy.
clanking.
Like a cowbell clank.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's on the camera, and they still moving the jewelry around, and I'm like, your shit is trash jewelry, and you're letting you acting like the clanking sound is popping. It's not popping, y'all.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound good.
It's trash.
No.
What about when Ocho Cinco said all his jewelry was fake and nobody, because everybody knew he could afford it, and he was just like, I'd rather just have the presentation.
Football players get a pass.
Yeah, that's true. You see what he said? Rappers are not allowed to have that fake jewelry. That's why
You don't get a pass.
We don't grant them the
and,
grace.
And you know why? That's why he and I went back and forth when I was like, especially as a drug dealing rapper, you couldn't have a regular job.
A football player's job is not to talk about how much fucking jewelry they have. A rapper 9 times out of 10 only talks about how much fucking jewelry they have. So that means, you gonna lie to me twice? You gonna lie to me and talk about the chains?
it's so
and then you gonna be in my face with this?
You killed it.
Come on.
Like, subscribe, comment. What's the super thing we do? Super thanks.
Yes.
Do all of that. We had Bridget Kelly on.
And
See the Thing Is pod.
Yes.
Let's
was
acknowledge
great.
it. We didn't talk about this. Acknowledge the fact that you did the marathon.
I did. I ran
she
the New York
just
City
ran the
marathon.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I know what
You
it is
finished.
to jog
6
miles.
hours and 52 minutes?
Yes.
Let me
6 hours.
give you
See,
a fist
I
bump.
paid attention.
6 hours.
20
6
How
hours.
many miles?
attention.
20,
I'll give
20
you that.
654. 654.
That's
I
an
thought it was
amazing time.
652.
No, it's not. I was very upset with that time.
No, because you're not a natural jogger
Bridget,
or a runner.
You
No,
finished.
but it was still, I trained to get between a certain,
What was
and there
it,
were
4 hours was your range?
No, but like 5 hours, 5 hours
Bridget,
and 10 minutes.
Bridget,
That was my
you-
slated time.
Bridget, you
Thugged
did
out.
over
You did a
23
thug
miles.
move.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it was 26.2.
26.2,
And I don't
thank
know
you.
if I'll ever do it again, but it was a bucket list thing, and I did it.
Congratulations.
I'm very happy that it's
Congratulations.
done.
Congratulations on your nuptials.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
She's
my
engaged now.
engagement. We off the
Yo.
market
Yeah, it's been real.
officially.
Until next time, we lit.
Mandy, you owe me dinner. No, she don't.